After close to 1 week of holidays, colleges in Udupi finally reopened this morning. We are in front of the government PU college in Udupi, which is at the center of the hijab controversy after close to 8 girls were denied entry into their classrooms for wearing the hijab back in December. The incident had snowballed, gained media traction, counter protests of students, Hindu students with saffron shawls, began protesting across Karnataka, and the state government had declared a holiday. This morning, Aditya and I came to the gates of the university to kind of see what it would be like. I have to admit, there was so much media here that it was a little difficult to see how the girls were sort of walking through the gates of of the college that they walk through every day under this media glare. There was also the presence of the police and the college faculty who were keeping a very watchful eye on them, making sure that they went straight to their classrooms. The 8 girls at the center of this controversy did not show up at the university this morning, as the hearings at the Karnataka High Court are ongoing. They probably preferred to wait until the verdict is out. Despite this, there are other Muslim students who attend this college, and they had walked into the gates of this college this morning, some of them in a burqa, some of them in a hijab. No student was particularly stopped by any of the faculty. We don't know if they entered the classroom with or without the hijab as of now. We spoke to some students outside the college. Most of the girls were very unwilling to speak and hesitant and shy, and also scared to speak to the media. We spoke to a couple of Hindu students who said that the girls said that, they are against the wearing of the hijab. One of the girls then did say that, she does feel bad for the Muslim girls and how they've been treated in the last few days. But she did say she's against the hijab. Even though she's against the hijab, she does give them some amount of moral support and still speaks to them and ensures that they still have her love and affection. After all, these are girls from the same class who have been interacting with each other for a year or two now. But the Hindu girls did reiterate multiple times that this is not to do with religion and is to do with uniform. They also said that this is what their parents believe, and the parents are with them in saying that they should protest the fact that their Muslim students are wearing the hijab in the classroom. We only managed to speak to one Muslim girl who agreed to talk to us without revealing her name, and that too off camera. And she said that she is someone who's never really been wearing the hijab inside the classroom anyway. Although she does come to college in a burqa, she takes it off and puts the hijab. She takes off a burqa in the toilet, and she removes her hijab and puts it in the bag before she enters the classroom, and then wears it back as soon as she's outside of the classroom. Now, there's been a lot of narratives trying to establish whether girls historically have worn the hijab or not in this particular college, whereas the principal and the BJP MLA, who's also on the college developmental committee, has said multiple times that the girls have never worn hijab. But Muslim students that we spoke to, students who had previously studied in this college, said that they had worn the hijab inside the classroom. But apart from this particular university, this particular college, the other college which saw tensions in Udupi was the MGM college, the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial College, which is actually a larger college and has a lot more students. It was late to react, but even there we saw that Hindu students gathered, protested on the very last day after the Karnataka interim order had come out. Before that, the area which did sort of explode in terms of counter protests is Kundapura, which is about an hour away from here, where almost 6 to 8 colleges who had even previously allowed the wearing of the hijab had then said that until the court arrives at a verdict, girls will not be wearing and should not be wearing the hijab inside the classroom. Aditya and I also went to Kundapura this morning just to sort of assess what the mood is and what a reopening of college there seems like. Even there it was fairly peaceful. So what one can really say is largely today has been peaceful, except for one incident that happened at G. Shankar College in Ajjarkade in near Udupi itself, where there are about 2,100 students, of which 197 I believe are Muslim students, and a handful of them turned up today with the hijab or the burqa. We were unable to confirm because we weren't at that location, but according to local reporters, these students had come in and then they were taken to meet the principal, at which point allegedly the principal told them that if they want to enter the classroom, they have to take off the hijab. And then a few students spoke to the media and eventually returned home unwilling to take off the hijab. The Karnataka High Court is currently hearing the matter. A verdict is awaited. Meanwhile, they have passed an interim order which kind of tell students to follow the uniform code. The state order argues that there is no reason for students to not take off their hijab and that it doesn't affect them as practicing Muslims as such. So the colleges, even those which had allowed the hijab, are now applying the fact that girls should not be entering classrooms with the hijab. In the last few days, the situation in Udupi, although it has been quiet, has also been in some sort of tension. Most people here will tell you that this is not a traditionally communal area, although this particular belt of Karnataka has had a history of RSS, and according to Muslims in this community, the Muslim organizations came up here post the Ayodhya verdict largely and have seen a rise in the last few years as a counter to the establishment of RSS here. In this particular incident itself, there are multiple narratives that have come up in the last few days of disagreements within the Muslim organizations, of what the Hindu organizations claim to be as their role in this particular incident. So far, there is no other protest other than student protests in this region of Udupi and in this region of coastal Karnataka. The protests have been restricted to student protests. Now, the 8 to 6 girls who are at the center of this particular hijab controversy have been inaccessible to the media in the last few days. According to CFI members, this Campus Front of India members, through who most of us reporters have been reaching out to the girls because there isn't any direct way to contact them. And CFI says that their parents themselves gave CFI the responsibility to coordinate media meetings and engagements. Members of the CFI have said that the girls are a little saturated with media attention. Their numbers and addresses were leaked. They have been receiving threat calls, harassment calls, and they don't want to continue speaking to the media until the court gives a verdict. Occasionally, the CFI has organized their meetings with reporters at the masjid here, and once a press conference was held, but CFI felt that the media was getting out of hand in terms of the kind of questions they were asking and the kind of bombardment that these girls were receiving, that they are now going to remain quiet until the court verdict comes out. So one thing that we observed while we were speaking to different kinds of people here and different students here is that everybody agrees that this entire incident could have been settled at the level of the faculty members, students and parents if they could have held a meeting which could have really come to an understanding, which wouldn't have snowballed in a situation where today the fate of the education of all the Muslim girls in Karnataka lies in the hands of the court verdict. And this incident at this one university is now going to decide the fate of these Muslim girls' education, which has actually in this particular state been seeing a rise in the last few years. Aditya and I have been working on a larger text piece. We reached here on Feb 11th, a little after the main protests had taken place, so we had a chance to speak to different people involved in this protest to gather a sense of, what are the different emerging narratives? What are the women at the center of this really saying? And what implications does this sort of an incident have in the larger sense of Muslim education, Muslim girls' education in Udupi, in Karnataka? You can check out our text piece on our website, newslaundry.com. Do let us know what you think about it. This is Nidhi Suresh and Aditya Warrior for newslaundry.com.
The subscription model is something that keeps Newslaundry afloat, but we need hundreds of thousands of people to completely transform the news ecosystem. So you pay for news, so it serves you. So click on the link with this video, subscribe to Newslaundry and pay to keep news free, और गर्व से कहो मेरे खर्च पर आज़ाद है खबरें.